Thanks so much to the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority for inviting me here today to represent the League of Women Voters of Broward County and to speak with you about the work that we are doing on the environment, particularly trash. The League is a 103-year-old organization. It is nonpartisan, committed to ensuring that everyone is represented in our democracy. We do not support candidates or parties, but we do take positions on issues after we've studied them. We have many positions in the environmental arena, and we take action on these issues and educate the public as best we can. I'm currently serving as the Environmental Issues Chair for the League of Women Voters of Broward County. And thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's talk trash. So what does it mean to throw something away? We often say, let's just throw it away. But away is someplace, it's not nowhere. And why should I be concerned about it? And why should you be concerned about it? Because today here in Broward County, we do have a solid waste crisis, and we are all needed to help take part in the solutions. Broward County does have a solid waste problem. We create too much trash. We have almost 2 million people, and we create about 4 million tons of trash every year. Kind of an astounding number. We don't have many places to put it, and the trash we create wastes natural resources. It's polluting to our land, our air, our water, and even our human bodies, as we shall see later on, which is quite alarming. The creation and disposal of waste contributes to climate change, and plastic waste in particular is a serious problem, as we'll get into, and it's a health problem. So what do we do with it all? Well, this may be a familiar sight to you. It's our landfill. A lot of waste still goes into the landfill, but the landfill is limited in capacity. However, we don't have room for another landfill in the county, and there are problems with landfilling. The trash doesn't degrade very well, it just breaks down, and there are limited climate effects, there are climate effects to landfilling in terms of methane gas being released. We're wasting resources, and landfilling alone is not a sustainable solution. So where else does our trash go? Well, we have an incinerator in Broward. It's also known as a waste-to-energy plant. We burn the trash and create some energy with it, but even the most advanced plants create some toxic emissions and toxic ash. And of course, we are burning and wasting resources. So recycling is a great idea, but is it working? Well, it's not working too well right now. One of the reasons is we don't do it properly, and the markets are not very good. So we'll talk about recycling a little more later. So we can't say we're just going to get rid of it, truck it away, because there is no more away. Again, this is our trash problem. Our landfill is nearing capacity. The incinerator is nearing capacity. Recycling is not working very well. Other nearby counties no longer take our trash. Our population is growing. We have a throwaway society. And plastic pollution, especially single-use plastics, are a growing threat. Plastics, by the way, are a product of the oil, gas, and chemical industries. So that is where the climate contribution comes in. So plastics have a lot of benefits to our lives. And you can see all these different items. If you look around your home, you'll see plastic everywhere. And we can go on and on about that. But we're trying to reduce plastics. We should be trying to reduce plastics, but they're never going to go away entirely. They're part of our lives, and we have to determine what plastics are really necessary in our lives. And we're going to talk mainly about single-use plastics in a little bit and the issues with that. So again, what is the problem with plastic? Well, greenhouse gases are emitted at every step of the plastic cycle, from the extraction of the fossil fuel and transportation, the manufacturing of plastics, and then the management of the waste in the landfill, recycling, and incineration. It's polluting to our environment, and as it turns out, to our human health as well. Single-use plastics in particular were created to last hundreds of years or more, but single-use plastics are only used for a moment, which is wasteful and a real problem. Microplastics. This is quite alarming and has come to light in recent years. Microplastics, and you can see by the photo how small some of the particles can be. We are eating, drinking, and breathing these things. It's said that most of us ingest about a credit card's worth of plastic every week. Tap water has microplastic particles, but you can see that if you drink only bottled water, you have a lot more potential for ingesting microplastic particles. We've got this information from a Consumer Reports study, so this is something that's been come to light recently and quite alarming. And they have found plastics in the human body. Scientists have found them in our lungs, our blood, placentas, our heart, and breast milk. We don't know the full implications of this as yet, but they are being studied. So what can we do in the meantime? Well, we can use less plastic. We should not be heating plastic food in containers in our microwave or our oven, because chemicals can be released when plastic is heated. And we need to advocate to reduce plastic in our environment. There is a documentary that you can access called "We Are All Plastic People Now," which kind of says it all. This is an art installation that demonstrates how much plastic is being produced. Unfortunately, as much plastic as we have around now, all around us, plastic production is scheduled to triple by 2050. Basically, the issue is that the oil, gas, and chemical industries are making less products as people go to renewables. And so these industries are switching to promoting and producing a lot more plastic, because that's a good market for them. So what about recycling? Again, it's a wonderful idea. And what is it? It's making something new from something used. But a small percent of our waste is actually recycled. Why? Because some of us don't recycle, or many of us contaminate our recycling with non-recyclable items. When it's contaminated in such a way, the whole truckload could be ruined, and it's not a pure product that can be easily marketable anymore. So that's why a lot of cities have disbanded recycling, and that's why the costs are going up. Our Broward cities up to now have had different recycling programs with different contracts and different things that are recycled, and that has been very confusing to everyone. Unfortunately, there has been very little monitoring for people who are recycling, or penalties for those that don't recycle right, and so the contamination continues. So this is a cartoon showing the faucet representing plastic production. Obviously, if we don't start closing that faucet, it's going to be very hard to get rid of the plastic problem. So waste reduction is what we need to begin thinking about, reducing the amount of waste that we create. And we can do that through our purchasing decisions, less packaging, less plastic, and buying only what we really need. We should be reusing what we can, repairing instead of new. And it's critically important that we support candidates for political office who are willing to enact policies that reduce waste and support a clean environment. Until we start changing those laws, our ability to reduce waste is going to stay inhibited. So what should we do? We should be refusing plastic bottles, especially single-use plastic bottles of water. 1 million plastic bottles are sold every minute worldwide. There are some communities that have issues with their water, but most communities in the US do not. And so why do we need this bottled water? We really should be refilling usable containers and not buying or using these single-use plastic bottles for water. This would make a big difference if we could just do this. So these are some other single-use plastics that we should try to avoid. Ideally, we should legislate some of this, but laws and ordinances have to be passed. There are some things that local governments in Florida can ban or regulate, and we need to continue to push the local governments to do that. So there is a plan afoot for in Broward for solid waste. Broward and most of its cities, 28 of its 31 cities, have actually developed a plan to handle our trash. It's taken years of meetings, but they have developed a cooperative plan, signed an agreement. The plan is not detailed yet, but they're working on what they call their master plan now. If this all comes to fruition, recycling will be more successful because we'll work together, we'll have a unified message. But the first thing we must do is reduce the amount of waste we create. The more we reduce, obviously, the less we have to deal with. So we can be composting food waste, developing reuse programs, and recycle items such as glass separately, creating what's called a circular economy. And in this program, Solid Waste Working Group, which now is our new Solid Waste Authority, is going to be discussed in greater detail. So again, I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. The League is open, by the way, to membership to all, men and women, and we welcome you if you're interested. We hope you'll support our work. Here is our website information and our email information. And for more information on plastics, a good website is plasticfreefl.org. And thank you again for the opportunity.